Hue Home. It is shop local, buy local. It's everybody's business. We are all stakeholders in our local economy. I'm Tracy Koga, and this is something dear to my heart. We love our city. We need to support it, but we really need to support our local businesses, our incredible entrepreneurs, our business owners. We're going to hear from so many of them here tonight that are going to share their stories, and hopefully maybe let's work on having a better and brighter future for 2021. So let's open the doors. It's Zoom. I call it doors, but let's open it up to all of our guests here tonight. It's going to be an incredible night of conversation. Hello, everybody. Everybody's kind of on mute right now, so make sure that you unmute yourselves. It's so good to see everybody's faces. It almost seems like a party. you know. Oh, it's so good to see you, Reagan.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Linda, so good to see you. Michael, Satchet. Oh, so good to see you. Ogo, give a big, huge wave. And I know that there's some more people coming in to join the conversation. You know what? Tonight, definitely, I want everybody to share their stories on their struggles or maybe what they've overcome. But again, I also want to leave time to have conversation because I think that is so important. We had a virtual chat earlier this week, and it was like, we have heard so many great stories, but what is the next step? Well, the next step may happen here tonight through conversation, taking that next leap or hearing from somebody else what worked for them, maybe implementing that, for yourself. I don't know, but it's just I think a great opportunity for everyone to share their stories. So we're going to get right with it, I think. And I'm going to go to a dear friend. He's never short of words. His heart is on the ground all the time with the people. My dear Satchet Merritt from East India Company. I go to you first too, also for the fact being that you're a family business and you've seen it through thick and thin, but probably nothing like this ever before. So Satch, let's hear it from you. Restaurateur, family man, what's the whole journey been like? And then we're heading into 9 months of it.
Okay, I'll be very brief. I'll try to be very brief anyways. It's 7:07. Tracy, first of all, I want to thank you and the whole crew at Hue for leading this call tonight and putting us all together. It's great to see Ravi out there as well, and some of the other folks around the call. I know Obi's coming on a little bit later. It takes people like you, it takes leaders like you, just bringing these groups together and keeping the conversation going. And so thank you to you for this leadership, not only here, but at other great events like the Miracle Garden Party, where you were absolutely amazing for the Victoria General Hospital. So thank you. Briefly, for those of you who know that about the restaurant, we've been around for 48 years. I've been doing it for 28 with my parents. I'm third generation. We've seemingly seen it all, SARS, different bovine crises, you name it. Never did we thought we would see something like this. We've got restaurants in Winnipeg and Ottawa. Way back in March, we saw it coming out of Quebec in conversations with our Ontario locations and in conversations I was having with organizations that I'm a part of politically out in Ottawa as well. And we were hearing that Ontario was going to shut down. So on March 16th, which was a Monday, way ahead of any obligation, we closed. And I don't think it was till weeks later that the province would announce a closure, but it was absolutely scary. And we honestly thought it's going to be for a week, maybe 11 days, 12 days, 3.5 months later, that was the first closure. And then we'd reopen several pivots, and now we're into the second closure. Sales are at probably 45-50% of gross average, and I still think we're lucky. If we consider the business spectrum, we know that there's some businesses on the spectrum that have just done very well. by virtue of what's going on. And then there's other businesses on the other end of the spectrum that have been completely obliterated. And those businesses usually fall into the category of events, hotel spaces, venue spaces, restaurants, hospitality. Some have completely closed or some are just operating at smaller margins. But it gets worse because if you plot those spaces off on a map, on a topographical map, so on Winnipeg, the stuff that's in the burbs is actually kind of okay. They might be operating at 70, 80%, some of them. But the stuff that's downtown, the central business district, because everybody's working at home, because nobody lives downtown, generally speaking, because there's no business and pleasure tourism anymore, because the delivery services don't really travel out as far from the downtown, you become the absolute go-to spot for people. Like, they specifically have to come for you. And so for us, that's meant that we're on people's radars. Social media for us is strong, whether that's communicating with other small business owners or keeping in touch through social media. We've done that, and we've continued to do that. Advocating politically has been key, and just letting those business leaders know what it is that they need to know from our industry as best we can. Now, whether they choose to listen or not, that's different. But certainly, from our end, we have to tell them kind of where it's at. I guess I'll just end with this. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I've done quite a few YouTube videos about this. So if you haven't seen them, please watch a few of them, just about small business stuff. But 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we just knew we were in a tunnel. We didn't know if there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And about 2 weeks ago, with the announcement of the vaccines, we now know there's a light. And whether that light is now 3 months away, 6 months away, or a year, I personally think it's about a year or so. As a business, now we just know we need to hold on and do what we need to do to get to that side. So that is absolutely encouraging. 7-Eleven, 4 minutes. Perfect.
Oh, you know the perfect soundbite. No, because I want to have time tonight for everybody to get into this conversation. But, first of all, obviously, to share your story. So thank you so much, Satch. I'm going to go now to the retail end of it. So, Reagan, it's been so long, and
I know.
wow, it's been crazy. Owner of Style Bar, like an iconic clothing store in Osborne Village. And I have to say too, Reagan, like, even before the pandemic, things were slowing down, right, in the village?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, the village has definitely, I feel like every 5 years it goes through some sort of a change. I've only been there for 7, so it's hard for me to say, but I've seen over the years lots of vacancies, and then, all of a sudden everything is leased. But we're definitely in one of those ruts again with some of the big anchor stores leaving. And so it's been tough being in that location lately.
Okay, so what's the journey been like for you? Besides, congratulations, you have a baby too as well.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest struggle during all this, to be honest. In March, I never thought we'd get to the point where we had to shut down. My husband said to me, China just shut down everything. Can you imagine if that happens to you? And I said, it will never happen. Like, there's no way that's gonna happen. And then within, I want to say 10 days, I shut my store, which I never thought I would have to do. And we had to pivot over to online. Luckily, we had already had a pretty good presence online, so it wasn't as hard of a transition. But people like to try on clothing. Some people don't want to buy clothing online. So we were shut down for about 3 months. We reopened about 2 weeks before I had my baby. And then, and then, during that time, I didn't want to hire a full-time employee because I didn't know what was going to happen, but yet I was having a baby and I knew I couldn't be there. So one of my employees transitioned over to full-time for me. So she's been helping me out a lot. We had a pretty strong summer. Like when things started to slow down again, with COVID, we had a lot of foot traffic through the summer, but you definitely noticed in October when things started to heat up again that we were slowing down. And then, yeah, we had to shut down again about 2 weeks ago. So back to online. The hard thing is Christmas is our busy time. It sets us up for the entire, winter season usually. So I make, from November, December, I pay my bills for January, February, March, usually.
Mhm.
And I doubt that's going to happen this year. And then, so I'm scared more for January, February than I am for November, December, to be honest.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? We're gonna figure out something by the end of tonight here to make
Yeah.
that to figure all that out and make sure that it's a happy holidays, Merry Christmas for all of you folks. So
Yeah.
now swinging it back over to the restaurants, I'm gonna go up to Ravi. Ravi, we had you on the Hue virtual chat with all the ladies, but what struck me with your story is how you've kind of reinvented yourself in all of this pandemic. So share your story, Ravi.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, got a few restaurants in the city and hotel, and as you can guess, they're empty and not doing so hot right now. But first of all, I'm excited to be here. This is fantastic, Tracy. Thank you for putting this together. This is awesome.
It's all of you. I want to hear the stories, and
So,
hopefully, people will hear them.
The story is we're failing miserably right now, and you know what? Everyone can chalk it up to a bad year. Every business has a bad year. Well, this one's really bad. This one's going to cost quite a few years to make up. And some of us don't have the resources. Yeah, right. Some of us don't have the resources to scrape that together, and some do. And we've seen a lot of closures in the city, and we're not far off. We're not far off. But you know what? Wake up every morning. We're breathing. We're healthy. We're staying positive. We do what we got to do. Everyone's struggling, so I don't want to dive too much into that, but I do want to dive into what I have been doing lately, which is trying to reach out and help people a lot more than the average day that I live. So I don't have a job right now, okay? So like a lot of us on here. So I'm trying to help people and reach out and make it really personal. So that means I've done a couple posts where we're helping women or men or children, whoever's running from spousal abuse or domestic violence. We've opened our doors to them. And I want to invite everyone in here who's got a physical property that's empty right now to do the same. Because I think if each of us can help one person a day or every couple of days, that's going to make a massive difference around our city. And while we don't have a lot going on right now, and we got the time and the power to do it, that's where we come together as business leaders and make that happen and set an example for everybody else. So I've been manning the domestic phone calls myself for a lot of this, and it's been an amazing experience. It's been very rewarding. We've actually helped multiple people get on a very different path than the one they were on, and making a real difference. And yeah, it is a time commitment for sure, but it's been great.
I just wanted to ask too, Ravi, has it opened your eyes, like, listening to these stories, and rightfully so. I mean, we're business owners and wrapped up into what we need to do and worried about our families. But when you kind of have to turn an ear and listen to another person's story, it certainly is different.
I mean, we're going home at the end of the day with financial struggles. There's a lot of people in our own backyard that are going home with financial struggles and having to put up with a drunk spouse or partner and put up with a physical beating and then start their day all over tomorrow. I don't have to deal with that, and hopefully no one here does either. But I couldn't imagine having to live that day in and day out. And for people that want to get out of that, I'm saying walk on in, come on in. Let's get you on a different path. Let's get the police involved. Let's get you in a shelter with real resources, and let's get you going.
Wow, so amazing, Ravi. Ravi owns 4 Crowns, so we're definitely going to talk more about what we can do as a whole. I'm going to switch it over now, back over to, I guess, retail, sort of. Can the Bahati sisters give a big wave? Is that Odette and Francine? Is she joining us? You guys are on mute, so just unmute.
Hey.
Hello. Oh, it's so good to see you. You know what? I don't know if you remember me, but I think I interviewed you when you girls were singing because I remember there's some sort of music end of this whole kind of relationship too. But
Yeah.
so you know what? It's so good to see both of you. Let's talk now about first of all, Black owned Manitoba and what that all has meant, and it is really incredible. And and then again, talk about each in your own businesses, design, and then of course with the makeup too, as a cosmetic industry business too as well. So yeah, so both of you, if you want to chime in on your whole kind of personal experience over this 9 months of pandemic.
So do you want to jump in first or? Okay, so anyway, I can go fast. I think the beginning of the pandemic was very, very challenging, just being that I had some trade show kind of set up and it had to be canceled. So that was really, really challenging. And I, as well, just the beginning of the pandemic, it really affected the beauty industry because nobody will wear makeup going and being locked down. So really, really affected my cash flow and just really affected just I felt defeated. But I think as well, after that moment, I think I'll say a month or so, like the Black Lives Matter kind of movement came in, and I think just starting Black on kind of revive kind of something, and I saw so many benefits that Black owned businesses are getting from just the movement and people having the responsibility to support the Black community. So that really kind of gave me so much hope, so much hopeful, and I think I started kind of looking into just changing my perspective on how just fixing on just the positive side of it, knowing that despite everything, people are making that conscious decision to kind of go on the site, on our directory, and kind of support these businesses, which was something that really kind of was a positive for me, and as well for that as well, because we saw a number of even till now, we often see so many visitors on the directory, and that's really amazing, because we know that people, they're not just visiting this the directory, but they're supporting them. And with everything going on right now, small business are being affected, whether you are a Black owned or you're not. We are all affected. We are all in this together. So that is something, and I've seen so many other people coming in with like kind of shop logo something, and just even something like this as well. It gives hope. It reminds the small business community that you are not alone, that we, the public, we are here to support you. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, and then just to add on Francine, what she said is, I had so many interior projects on the way, knowing that I do staging and design. I had clients lined up to meet them. So now I'm not able to go meet them anymore because we can't meet each other. So that has affected my income in a sense. And then for staging, I had started the transition of only doing vacant designs, but that's not enough for income. So I've been really affected. While I still stage, I'm only doing vacant, I'm not meeting clients. It's been really hard, but again, like everybody's saying here, we're trying all to adjust into the new norm. How can we get back and find a way to make money, or just get used to what's happening? I'm seeing a lot of retail going mostly online and finding ways to have a presence online, which is good. For me, I'm still in that position of trying to get myself back, both financially and finding ways to find more clients, more realtors that want to stage their homes or when they're vacant. And I'm hoping that things will get better. But the more I see the support that local businesses are happening, the more traffic I'm seeing on the website for people that are booking me for next year. And I hope that we all just gonna keep a positive outlook on it. And I'm really excited to see what Black Owned is doing. For me, for any other business, any that are on the directory, I've seen a big difference since we opened the site and since we opened the Instagram account as well. So I think it gives a little bit of hope, and I'm excited to see things like this. Having business owners, we are all having the same issues, and it's just good to come together and realize that I'm not alone and nobody's alone. So.
Oh, well, thank you so much, girls. It's been, I think the whole idea of Black Owned is amazing. And I think that it really does have so much relevance moving forward. So now, okay, we're going to head back to ice cream, food. My good friend, Sue. How are you doing, Sue? You might be muted, so you might have to unmute yourself. So Sue Lynn runs Milksmith, this boutique, incredible little ice cream parlor, a little bit of whimsical, a little bit of dreams on Corridon. And yeah, so Sue, how has it been all through these 9 months for Milksmith? I think you're still muted, Sue. No? Still not hearing her.
She said she had to log off. She's coming right back.
Okay, that sounds like Ogo. All right, okay, so it's you on the hotspot, Ogo, Zweke. Let's talk now about your business now, because the majority was or is online. Now, though, you do have a storefront and a store presence. So how has this whole pandemic kind of shifted gears for you and the company?
It's been pretty challenging. I mean, I quit my actual job before. This was kind of just a little side thing that we were doing online, and I quit my job at the beginning in January and thought, hey, let's go for this and take a leap. And the leap has been quite interesting. Our business model kind of was set up with an online sales, but we do a lot of corporate and team sales also. So a lot of our apparel that we make was intended for teams and sports and stuff like that. And when you kind of plan out the year, I guess I don't think anybody on this call is probably planning for a pandemic or any sort of shutdown. And most times when you go through business school or you're an entrepreneur, you're like, oh, this is awesome. You know what? Something happens. I think about something different, and we kind of pivot and you kind of make it go. But it's kind of hard when sometimes, or recently, we know that everything just kind of stops and halts. And the best part has been, the community. Winnipeg is a pretty amazing community for things like this. When it seems to be a city, when it notices that its people are down on its luck, they step up and find ways to kind of help and push forward. And we reinvent ourselves, and even just where Ravi was speaking about, financially maybe in his pockets, it's pretty dire, but you start to realize there's other areas in the city that might need help that are a little bit more fulfilling. And I think the actual pandemic has probably brought a little bit more perspective, I would say, in my eyes, more than, when it comes to business. I'm definitely not making as much money as I was when I was working for someone, and not as much as we're not bringing in what we needed to bring to hit the numbers and move forward. But we could all sit here and cry and be sour, or you pivot and you start to find different ways of joy and things. And I think my little daughter has been saying, "Holy, COVID's changed you," and I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, where does COVID change me?" And I guess I must have been a miserable grump prior to this, but I started to realize, hey, you don't have to work 24 hours a day just focused on your business, or you can take some time for your fam, you can take some time, get a little more perspective that this is not the be all end all. And to be honest, we're all pretty grateful right now just to be on here and be healthy, you know, and actually have the ability to think about different ways that we're going to pivot and move and help our community. And Winnipeg has definitely, you know, with the shop local and the different types of areas, it's really helped push and forge what I think community is about. You know, we step up. Sometimes we're competitors. I know Regan and I went to Brandon, I think, was it Christmas, for a little pop-up, and that was supposed to be something that we were going to possibly do in the spring. But she was having a baby. I was still possibly going to Brandon, but but I mean, those kind of things kind of stopped, and you just kind of have to continue to pivot and figure out, hey, what can our company do to help within our community, and at the same time, when you kind of give out that olive branch and you're willing to be a member of your community, that community for some reason, and especially Winnipeg, I find this more unique to our city. They come back and they show you love the same way you kind of give it out. So it has been extremely tough, and you know, to focus on all the negatives would be counterproductive for us. We just kind of have to keep thinking about the good stuff, and like mentioned earlier, at least there's a little bit of hope. I mean, a little bit of light, hopefully at the end. I still feel like I'm in the middle of the tunnel, but I don't mind running into the darkness for a little bit longer, as long as we can kind of stay healthy and keep figuring things out. So that's the story of our venture right now. We're hoping that some of these sports do arrive again next year, because that was one of the big fundamental strengths of our business. But the first time, I think, in ever, maybe in the history of life for me at least, I've never seen sports end. And now this has been pretty interesting to see that, you know, I can't play basketball, or my kids can't participate in sport, and other kids can't. And it's been quite a unique thing, but learn to take care of myself and for my fam and everything else. But all in all, pretty good. So that's all.
Well, Ogo, you know what? You'll come up with another great idea. And hey, the Bombers just announced their season. All right, so we might be watching the game from the parking lot.
Right.
That's what they were doing today, because it's Thanksgiving down south, and there was, you know, the NFL games, and all the fans were in the parking lot. So, but hey, it is what it is. So hopefully, Sue, can you now join us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yay! Sorry, I always have issues with the sound on my laptop for some reason. Hi, how are you? It's nice to see you.
Oh, it was good to see you. So yeah, so like share. I know I sort of gave a little kind of intro to Milksmith and whimsical, great little ice cream parlor that can take you back to your childhood. And well, 9 months later,
anybody back right now?
Yeah, we need our childhood back now. Oh, so how's it been for you?
It's been okay. I'm sure, just like everybody else, we've had our challenges, and definitely business has been affected for sure. But I think we're sort of trying now to, like everybody else, pivot, kind of find the changes that we can make within our business plans to kind of go forward in this kind of weird time that we're in, and see what works for us and see what doesn't. So we're kind of all reinventing ourselves in some ways. But yeah, and so for us, I think the biggest challenge is sort of finding what we can do. Our product is so unique to us in that it's an experience when we bring our customers in. And so trying to find a way to bring that home has been really challenging for us. So we're kind of now in development of some new product lines. I think everybody was freaking out at the beginning when everything was closed down. And so, you know, a lot of restaurants were turning into grocery stores, and still now even, right? Like everybody's trying to find what they can do to just kind of get by and like make it work. And so we're definitely still in that process.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good question. You know, making it work. So I have also, sorry, I have a little tickle in my throat. Graham, I might need some water. So I do have some business and life coaches here. Michael DePizer, giveaway, Mike. And Linda Justowich, giveaway, Linda. And my dear friend, Susie Urjavik Parker, who she's incredible. I was hoping that Avi could join us today too, because, between these two people, I think we have all solved then, all of the problems for our local economy. So what I kind of hoped to do tonight is to give the platform to all of you, like have the conversation between everybody. I would like to first go to our life coaches. Michael and Linda both have lived experiences. Mike, if you want to share, I guess, your story on, hey, the pandemic actually was a silver lining for you in a way. Am I wrong in saying that, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, this is not to be insensitive, right up my alley. I feel like change is the one thing that I endorse. If it's not there, I create change. I was in a job for 10 years, very successful finance manager as the number one doing what I did. And I decided one day to quit because it was too comfortable. So I found myself in an area, I didn't plan for the future. I don't plan, I set intentions. And what I did was, I know that all you could do is work on today. So my plan was just to watch 100 YouTube videos on any education and see what I'd land into. Then I found a consulting course that really, I thought, what could I consult on? And then I thought, okay, I was good at what I did, so maybe I could train it and teach it. So I'm now a finance manager trainer, but I guess in the last 2 years, my life did a full 360, like absolutely 360. I always believe that, it's never what happens to you, it's what you decide to do about it. That's, to me, the story of life. Life doesn't give problems or opportunities. I mean, life doesn't give problems or challenges, only solutions. So that's the life I live. So I feel like I always try to evolve. So if I didn't quit my job, I might be in a position where I couldn't maintain my financial situation right now. But I feel like there's two things that happen. It's either you evolve yourself or this change will come and hit you by surprise. But I feel like the only time we get to reflect is when we have this big change. When I look at my life, the only time I really grew is when I had challenges, so to speak. So I feel like if we were all comfortable before this might be the shakeup we need to reinvent our business, to look at the areas of opportunities. What I did, I worked on, as soon as COVID, March 2019, I broke my life down into 5 areas: physical, mental, financial, relationships, and work. Every area I'm living the best I ever have in my life. So I just feel like it's just about not only changing the focus, knowing that being grateful for everything that happens to us, it's almost like everything's a gift. There's always a silver lining. It's all about what the person sees, right? We don't see the world how it is, we see it how we are. So again, some businesses, they should have been online already, right? But it took COVID to have them switch over, right? But then a lot of businesses are seeing success. What I had to do with my coaching, they fly me all over the country to do training, but while I was doing training, I was already developing a virtual platform. So when COVID came, oh great, it was time to release the virtual platform, and it was just as successful as the one-to-one. Now things are a little slower now, but then, there's always stuff we could focus on in our immediate life. So yeah, everything's beautiful for me, man. I always have a smile on my face 24/7. Life to me is a daring adventure, or it's nothing. So this is just another one of those things that allows us to get to know who we are. You don't know who you are without this kind of stuff. So that's just my perspective. Some people think it's insensitive, but you know what? I realize that no matter what you do, someone might misread it and feel like you have different intentions. But my goal is to, hey, this is one life to live. When I'm ready to die, I'm going to say, pull the plug. I lived a good life. So this is part of that. It's kind of interesting. And just to add to that, I found that I got to know who I am, and I realized I'm a very solid person because I had lots of change in my life, like everyone here did. But I realized that change always hit me with a perspective. But then I always had the opportunity to decide what I wanted to do forward. So change will share its information. I call it the feedback loop, but will allow you to decide what you do forward. So depending on your personality, you're always going to be on the move. Like Ravi said, man, he's finding an avenue, right? You could sit back in your house and curl up in a ball and talk about COVID, how it's ruining the business. Instead, you're transferring that value to somebody else. So, and to me, that's what it's about. So COVID really just brought up people's natural personalities, and those who are happy always remain happy. Those who, were maybe a little tough on themselves, well, it came out more, but either way, we all get to know ourselves better. So I feel it's actually a blessing, so to speak. Respect to everyone who's affected by it, and we all are, but I feel like how we choose to choose to handle it makes it a little more enjoyable, so to speak. So that's kind of my perspective.
Wow. So, so true. If we could only just take a little grain of salt and add that to our, our little grain of knowledge, what you just said, to ourselves, then that would be great. Linda, I'm going to go to you because let's talk a little bit about knowing or believing that you are successful. I know it's something that you were talking about. When it seems so hopeless, we're not seeing the results, and obviously where we are, not making the money, trying to make ends meet, but maybe we are truly getting ahead. Maybe we are truly successful. We want to talk about that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Tracy. And I just have to say, I'm really honored to be in the company of all of you tonight. I'm really inspired by everyone's story. And I have to say, particularly to Robbie, I think what you're doing is incredible. And I would love to offer my support in any way that I can, because that's a issue that's near and dear to my heart. So I just really am very moved by what you're doing there. So Tracy, I think you were referring to the post that I was writing today, and it was about belief when you don't see the results in your life. And it was something that I've struggled with as a business owner for many years. And being able to believe that there is something good happening even when you don't see the tangible results or the money in your bank account. And for me, it was always irritating when I would hear people talk about that, because I'd be like, okay, so even belief I'm doing wrong, hang on, like I can't win, And so I really had to, especially right now, my business is a lot slower. I've had to pivot in a big way, and to sit with the belief that things are going to get better is challenging. And so I want to offer that two things. I love Michael's perspective. You're so positive. I myself have to say I get there to that positive thing, but I am a person who will dip down into the, into the fear, into the doubt, into what's happening. Is this ever going to get better? And I think that's okay. I think that that's part of being human, is feeling the whole human range of emotions. And humans aren't just meant to feel positive all the time. We're meant to feel grief and loss. And I know that's something that I went through recently, was feeling real loss over the way that this year turned out. Like I had to allow myself to sit with that, I had big different plans for this year. I was traveling, I had speaking engagements. It was going to be this year of incredible growth. And I had to allow myself to grieve that loss of that vision of what I thought that this year was going to be. At the same time, accepting it, at the same time, pivoting. I think being in this company of entrepreneurs tonight is amazing, because I think the entrepreneurial brain works in such a unique way that we see opportunities and we see different glimmers of possibility around every corner. And I think that is the real gift that entrepreneurs have, and are able to share that with others, and give other people hope. So I really do appreciate that mindset. So for me, I am sitting with belief that things are getting better, that we are going to turn a corner, and that I believe that we can aim for post-traumatic growth, that we don't have to expect that this will be just post-traumatic stress, that we can get through this and really see the way that we've built our resilience, our strength, our community spirit. To me, our community spirit has grown in such a way. I'm so proud of the way Winnipeggers are stepping up and supporting each other and helping each other through this. So for me, it's, believing things are getting better, but also acknowledging the loss and the pain and the real grief that many people are going through, with people in the hospital and people who are really truly suffering. And so for me, it's acknowledging the full range of human experiences right now.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Linda. I know it's like so many emotions here and
Yeah.
so many different thoughts going through my head. But Susie, you know what? Again, I mean, you're maybe possibly the answer to start motivating and getting. I think it's a movement with your hashtag Save Manitoba Restaurants. It's been so phenomenal. I think everybody that I talk to, we're all doing it. Can we do this kind of movement to go forth with for Ogo and Regan and all of the other local retailers? I think we can do it. Don't you think?
I think that one of the things that is really evident about how everyone is speaking tonight and how everyone is feeling is that when you're passionate about something, it's very easy to infect other people with that passion, right? So we want to stay away from the virus, but I am ready to be infected by, people's positivity and people's plans, to get through this really. And, I just did a post on my Instagram. I'm doing this partnership with Travel Manitoba and Visit Winnipeg about supporting Manitoba restaurants. And there was a point in the pandemic where I was having a really bad day. Like I was cranky. I was, walking around with a frown on my face, and I was short-tempered. My nerves were fried. And I mean, everybody is entitled to have those days, right? But I also have 3 kids at home. And so I don't want them to necessarily see that cranky side of me or be subjected to my bad temper, right? So what I did is somebody posted on Facebook that they would give anything to have cupcakes that day. And I'm like, oh, I can make cupcakes. I can totally do that for somebody. So I sent her a message and I said, I know this sounds crazy, but I will totally make you cupcakes. If you give me like an hour and a half, they'll be ready and you can come pick them up from my front step. And she's just like, are you serious? And I'm like, I'm totally serious. And I was already in the kitchen. I had just finished making some cinnamon buns or whatever. I whipped up those cupcakes and she picked them up with her little baby and her husband. And it completely turned my day around because I was no longer focused on me and, that poor me feeling. And I'm not saying that you're not allowed to feel scared and unsure. Absolutely you are. But I have found that the best antidote to that is to do something for somebody else. Okay, and that's what Ravi's doing. That's what everybody here is doing, is to try and find a way to do something for somebody else. And once you do that, it gives you perspective and it puts everything in the right sort of point of view. And you can see that, my problems, no matter what they are not that big. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't have problems. We all do, but each of us has the ability to help somebody in some way, whatever that is, right? So this campaign that everybody is talking about and really excited about, which I'm so thankful for, which has now gotten to, we just cracked BC this week.
Oh, yes.
This Manitoba campaigns has now become Save BC Restaurants. We are going to be up in a billboard in Alberta as well this week. I just got the message from the graphic designer. She's ready to put it up. We cracked Ontario as well, and I'm hoping that's going to get picked up by media there too. So that comes from a long-standing passion of me working in the restaurant industry. And this Friday, I'm supposed to have a Zoom call with some of the people that I used to work with at Perkins. And I'm so excited to see these faces because they're the same people that I loved 25 years ago when we all worked together, right? Like that's what the restaurant industry does to you. It's the same faces, it's the same people, and you come together not necessarily for the job, but you come for the people that you work with every day, or the regulars that you see all the time. You watch their kids grow up, you see their grandbabies get born, like all these things become a part of your regular day life at work, right? And so that to me is easy to talk about. It's easy to get off my butt and do something to help somebody else, because it's not just helping me or, Ravi or Sachin, it's going to help everybody. And each of us can play some small part in getting that help out there. Now, I have to go back to Audette because she was saying she's looking at doing some staging. I think you and Ravi need to talk about getting those clients into his hotel while you go stage their place. Because I was on another call this morning with the real estate Manitoba Home Builders Association, and the houses are going bananas this year. So people are still buying houses. So there is hope There is a light at the end of this tunnel, and we all need to work together and pivot and find a way that we can help each other to get some good things done. And I believe that we can do that.
Wow. Okay, so now we got our work cut out for us. I'm going to make it a little bit more, I guess, dare I say the word political. But truthfully and honestly, Satch, and Ravi, how happy have you been with the government end of support? Who wants to answer that first?
Go first, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Look, I think, to be frankly speaking, I think federally, the response has been excellent. There's been very good programs that have come out. They've been blanket type of programs. Where the programs haven't worked, I think they've listened to those critical comments coming in, and they've adjusted those programs, specifically the rent assist program, right? So that's in my experience, at least. Those have been very, very successful. On the city side of it, I'm happy to give a bit of a pass just because there's not a lot of levers there. On the city side, I think there's been a lot of positive advocates for dining locally, shopping locally, doing that stuff. I think that's fantastic. Provincially is where it gets very difficult. Back in 2009, in 19, October 19th, 2019, it was election night provincial, and I got to talk about just issues that were being faced on CBC for about 3.5 hours. And one of the questions I asked was, and I don't know if this made it on air, but one of the questions I asked of the health minister at the time was, should there be another SARS-like epidemic, are we going to be ready given all the changes you've had? And basically it was there, we've got it type of response. And sure enough, 5 months later, here we are. And 7 months later, again, here we are doing the second wave. And so what are the changes being done? What have you done to respond along that time? And the reality is nobody's in business because they're looking for some kind of program or assistance or whatnot. Not a single entrepreneur here, right? Everybody wants to do their own thing, and that's what we've heard of over here as well. But at the same time as well, there needs to be fertile ground to be able to operate in. So right now, moving forward, we've got a light at the end of the tunnel. Let's start talking about programs and plans in terms of returning to work, bringing tourism back in, and ensuring that the businesses that we have on the ground are going to have a good, solid footing to be able to move forward with. I would love to be part of those conversations, hear about the consultations that are happening. There's not a lot of them right now. And so, let's see that. And so you've got, all these kind of people operating in their own different things, doing their own different things. It'd be nice to have everybody together, moving in a direction, pulling in one order. And I think specifically for that hundreds and the thousands of restaurants and all the people that employed across the country in those industries, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no doubt. Ravi.
Yeah.
Tracy, sorry. I just wanted to add something onto what Satya says, but go ahead, Ravi. I'll talk after.
Okay, Susie, go ahead.
I was just going to say that when it comes to provincially, coming from a creative part of the entrepreneurial sphere, there's a lot of people who've been left out of the provincial plan, and photographers, wedding planners, anybody who has any kind of, work from home kind of entrepreneur setup, they are left out in the cold by this provincial government, and they're trying to do their best to rally and to advocate for themselves, but it's been left up to the opposition, unfortunately, to do that for them. And I find that really shocking and really upsetting. So this year was supposed to be an election year. Remember that? It was supposed to be this fall. It was actually supposed to be like last month. And we were told that we couldn't have the election because we were going to have Manitoba 150. So we got suckered into an early election where issues were not necessarily at the forefront. And if that election had been held last month, we would have seen some quite different movement in terms of our provincial government and some of their programs and policies that they might have had in place. I find that very disappointing, and I think it's really important that people who live here get in touch with their MLAs, tell them what you want to see from them, what you need from this government, and that if they don't get it, they're not going to get elected next time. People need to hear that. People need to understand that. And not on Twitter, not on Facebook. I'm talking about calling your MLAs and writing your MLAs. That is an important part of this democratic process.
Susie, I totally agree. I think our federal government has been quite responsive, and they've been executing very well on certain plans, and which is like almost an impossible job to do when you're talking about all these different cities, all these different issues, local, all these different businesses and industries. And but that being said, I feel like, yes, I have multiple frustrations with the federal government, but in terms of supporting business, they've stepped up, they've executed, they put the plans out. They have not been perfect for everybody, and there's no way it could be, but they're trying. I'm very frustrated with the provincial government. I think for a right-wing leaning provincial government that we have that's supposed to be supporting business, I feel like they're an extremely reactive government. I feel like they say a lot more than they do. And I'm quite frankly not happy with them, with their performance. I think that they need to get ground level with business owners and talk and figure out what's really going on and how most people cannot apply for these funding programs that they're putting out. And I feel like they know that, and they have very smart people behind them figuring out the statistics of how many people are actually going to apply for these programs, how many people are actually going to get it, what's the chances that we're going to pay all this out or half of this out or 10% of it out. They know these numbers, and they're pretending like they don't, and I don't appreciate that at all. I think we all live in the same city, same province. We're all neighbors, and if you say you're going to support us, then support us. On a municipal level, on a city level, I feel like our mayor kind of, I feel like he got on the life raft a little too early. Announcing that he was not running midway through this pandemic was, I don't see any positive reason to come out and say that. I feel like, he threw the towel in and is now saying, okay, well, whatever the provincial government wants to do, they can do. I get that he doesn't get to control a lot of resources. However, our mayor has the opportunity right now, like we all have, to be a trailblazer and to be a forefront leader, and to be, to set an example for every other city in Canada. And to pass up on that opportunity, I'm not sure why he did it, but he can get out there and yeah, he's been doing a lot of these Zoom calls and with local businesses and whatnot. But what is he actually doing? Is he pushing the city councilors to agree to stop taking business and property tax out of our pockets? No, he's not. And if he is, he's certainly not making that vocal, right? As a matter of fact, our provincial MLAs that I've been talking to have been pushing their leader to make that happen. The minister, some of the ministers I've been talking to on the provincial level have been pushing to make that happen. They need Bowman's support to say, yes, this makes sense. Why, for every level of funding that's out there, we need to go to apply and wait and see if we even qualify for it. But meanwhile, I'm paying my tip payments on my properties every month, coming right out of my bank account, when that could be my direct funding right there. My hydro, my utility bills are coming out of my bank account every month. That money I already have in place. I don't think any of us here are a stranger to audits or high-level accounting. We know how that works. We're not afraid of it. I welcome the government to say, or the utilities to say, okay, let's see what's going on, and go ahead, don't pay this month or next month or for the next 3 months. That's money we have in pocket right now, and I'd really appreciate keeping that right now. And I think that's the fastest way of funding us. Also, for those of us that somewhat have our doors open, letting us keep our PST instead, or even a percentage of it, instead of paying that out of pocket right now and applying for other levels of funding. I think the PST that we collect is relative to our cash flow and relative to our style of business and the amount of overhead that we have. So that's a very easy way of being able to fund us. I think that there's a lot of easy options out there that I think should be really looked at. I understand that our premier and our mayor also had a more than full-time job to do before this pandemic hit. And I understand that now they've got twice that level of work and pressure to put up with. And it's not an easy job, and I don't envy their position. But I think that one thing that'll make a real difference for our city is speaking to us and hearing us out. And you guys are giving us the ability to do that. So thank you.
Well, Robbie, you have my vote if you want to run for mayor, okay?
Yeah, mine too.
And then we can have all this in
You
place.
can announce right now, Robbie. Just
Yeah.
announce the campaign.
Yeah,
I'll
man.
be
Announce
your
the campaign
communication
right now.
manager.
Susie,
Just kick it
Susie
off
will
right
be your
now.
campaign manager. We've got the life coaches there for you. You know, you've got Hue here as your platform. It's all set. And then you have
And
all
now,
these
and now
restaurants
stage
on
your
each hill.
office. So
You can have Style Bar and Zweke,
Oh,
you know,
Style Bar
do your
your
clothing.
Yeah, I need
We're
help.
good here. Yeah, and we got the staging here by, you know, the hottie girls and makeup too. So we're all good. So I want to get, yeah, I'm gonna throw it to the Bahati sisters too, and to Regan a little bit. Women in business. Did you apply for CERB or any of those, whatever, you know, programs that you could apply for? And did they help? Regan.
Yeah, you know, I applied for the $40,000. I forget what exactly it was called back then. Yeah. I applied for that. You know, my landlord didn't help me out the first time, so I'm happy with the new change of for my rent because my landlord didn't want to apply for it. So, you know, I didn't like that they put that on them to apply for us. I was eligible this time for the bridge grant. I know there's a lot of controversy out there about who's eligible and who's not, which I don't really agree with. Who's excluded. I think that's completely unfair, especially because like my store, I'm able to sell and try and make some sort of an income, you know, whereas there's some industries, like some of you guys, that can't. So it's like, I don't know how some of those industries aren't included in that. I'm also Métis, so the Métis Federation has been really helpful with entrepreneurs as well. What other one? The employee one, Back to Work Manitoba, doesn't apply to me at all, which would have been nice, but the dates of restarting and everything didn't line up with me. But you know, I felt like I got some help, but I do agree with Ravi with the PST. You know, that's a big chunk of money that would help us pay some of our overhead for the next little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, yeah, that's just it, right? You still have bills to pay. And then for Odette and Justine, like, how did things work for you girls?
Okay, for me, I wasn't qualified for the 40,000 grant. So that one I didn't even try because I knew I would not be eligible. However, I applied for the GAP, I think for the 6,000, the first one. I got approved for that one just because of how the business was affected. And then I tried to apply for the second one just because, yeah, so that I'm still waiting if I'll be.
We just lost her. We just lost you. There we go. Got you back.
Francine, you just went mute.
Mute.
There you go.
Oh, really? Yes. Wait, did you guys hear the first part?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So yeah, that was a good thing actually because yeah, to be qualified for something at least, it was really challenging in the beginning, but well, and just like the lady just spoke, it's hard, and I put myself in the shoes of some business that weren't able to, or they're not able to apply for the current GAP grants right now. Yeah, so.
And Odette?
yeah, so for me, I wasn't able to apply because I don't have a physical location. I used to, but then it was more expensive to keep up, and then it's better to. So I have my home office at home, so you need to have a physical office. So I wasn't able to apply, and I haven't really been. I haven't got any grant from the government, so. Maybe I'm gonna try, but I don't know. Maybe there's gonna be another one that's gonna come up. But at the moment, I'm just I'm excited. For instance, it was approved. So and but I don't have a physical location, so
Yeah.
apparently I'm not qualified. So
I'm not too sure. Very confused on that. Ogo, how about you? Did you get any assistance?
Yeah, we applied for the SEBA, the 40,000. We didn't qualify initially for it because we're pretty spanking new, so we didn't really qualify for it. But the second time when they made some provisions, we qualified and finally got it. I mean, I think we got it in after the summer or something like that, sometime in September or whatever. So we kind of got it there, and then we did the gap loan also, and we've applied for the new one too, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's been definitely keeping our ears and our eyes online for any sort of funding that is coming through. I really liked Ravi's note there about the PST, because it is in direct correlation with our cash flow. You know, if we're killing it, the government's getting paid. When we're getting killed, we can definitely use some of that just to get us through in terms of rent and overhead and employees or whatever it is, just to kind of still operate and be able to kind of move a little bit forward. But yeah, I mean, it's been tough. You kind of keep looking for money, or just if not looking for money, we're just looking for opportunity and partnerships and alliances that we can kind of build together.
Well, you know what? Let's all do what Susie suggested. Write our MLAs. Go for the PST. Hey, you don't know until you ask for it. But you know, before we leave tonight, this has been such an amazing conversation, and I think everybody has really, you know, been very honest. But moving forward, what's the next step? Like, yes, it's shop local, buy local, but what really is the next step? How, as supporters of your business, how can we help?
Well, I think that, you know, this holiday season, we're going to see some of that, right? So like Sachet held up his hands and said, like, it's going to take about 7 years for businesses that survive to recover from this. Okay. So when people ask me, like, what's the point of this, say the restaurants campaign and shop local, it's just like, I need people to be more mindful of where and how they're spending their disposable income. So instead of going to something like Amazon or going to, you know, a big box retailer or going to whatever it might be, is there someplace local that you can achieve that? And Avi's not here tonight, but he would tell you about goodlocal.ca, which is what he's trying to do, bring home a Manitoba sort of version of Etsy and Amazon together. And they're doing amazing, and which is why he can't be here, because he's so busy filling orders. But it's that type of thing. So this pandemic has proved that your purchases have a direct impact on your community's bottom line and on your neighbor's, you know, business and your community's success. All of these things have a ripple effect. So everything that we can do to support local really does help. And if we can think about that the next time we go shopping, the next time we go online, and for businesses, this is a wake-up call to get your business online and to pivot. On the news today, they were talking to the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce with a survey that they did. Downtown Winnipeg Biz put out the results too. How many businesses still have no online presence, still don't have curbside pickup available? It is incumbent upon those business owners to really, really find a way how they can serve their customers best. And that means offering convenience. And that might be something new for you, might be different, but you have to think about what your customers need and how you can fill that need.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Susie. Mike and Linda, you want to chime in with words of wisdom for all business owners, not only, you know, our panel here tonight? Linda?
The two words that come to mind for me are imagination and compassion. You know, it's a combination of using our imaginations to imagine a future that is different from what we thought it would be, and that we can create, as Susie was saying, an experience that we've never had before, a real, like a coming together of community, supporting these local businesses, moving away from the box stores. And it could become a very rich and delightful and delicious experience in our city and our province, that we have the opportunity, as Michael said, to look at this as an opportunity for growth. And I really see that both of that imagination, opportunity, but also compassion, compassion for our neighbors, compassion for our own struggles, compassion for our own selves when we're just, saying it's hard. Let's not forget, this is hard. We're heading into the holiday season. Many of us are having very stressful times with our families, with our businesses, with our finances. And so we have to have compassion for ourselves and take care of ourselves, really, really honor our own needs so that we can help other people. So that would be my
oh, thanks so much. Mike?
Yeah, I think it's, again, everything is quite an opportunity. So, when we're hustling, bustling, this pandemic's not here, we're super busy. So now it kind of gives us an opportunity to focus on some of those loose ends. I'm sure we all have loose ends we could tighten up, some streamline some stuff. Maybe there's areas in the business we didn't look at. So I always say just focus on your daily activities, knowing that what you do in the dark will come out to light. So when this pandemic's over, you not only will be more resilient, you'll be more streamlined. So that's one avenue. And I feel like this is the only time we get to know ourselves. You need some adversity to get to really know who you are. And without it, I mean, sometimes we're not certain of what we're capable of. So this is just going to make you stronger for the future. And quite frankly, if we could handle this, I mean, I don't know what much you couldn't foresee handling in the future. So really, it's just be grateful for what's happening, in the sense that there's a lot of positives that come out of it. And yeah, that's basically what I would say, right? The grass is greener where you water it. So you could spend time, again, curling up in a ball, talking about how things might not work, where there's tons of stuff you could do. So I'm sure that we could all put our heads together and reach out to each other. Now, I'm always here for support as well. I know, Ravi, with what you're doing, it's quite remarkable. And I'm always able to really spend time with someone and encourage them to kind of and empower them to kind of see the positive in situations. So if you find some of those folks needing that extra person to talk to, just to remind them of how capable and wonderful they are, I definitely volunteer for that, man. I feel like that's very honorable. So for the most part, yeah, I keep a smile on your face and get to know who you are. This is kind of an intimate time with yourself. So.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Mike. You are the man with the megawatt smile. Have you ever seen Mike smile? Well, you can't help but smile. But Ogo, you're a close second. Okay, I'm just going to go to the business owners quickly. What is your biggest wish for 2021, Mr. Sachet Mira?
You're muted, Sachet.
I was going to say, oh my God, where do I start?
In 4 minutes or less. No.
Yeah. Well, try to do in a minute or less. Look, I think, one of the questions I get asked a lot about these days is, how are you? And not in the passing, friendly Winnipeg or friendly Manitoba way. It's a friendly, how are you, right? And just because viscerally people know kind of where things are at for a lot of different business people, right? And I think within that question, though, there's just a yearning, a longing for everybody here to be back within that normal, to, walk down the street, to, congregate, to celebrate, to date, just to be together again. And, fundamentally, society and groups of people are not built on, this, right? It's built on being together and being across from each other, and getting back a little semblance of that. Our popular culture is built on these kinds of celebrations and being together, and passing that and kind of returning a little bit to that and seeing that again. At the end of the day, that's why we were in the restaurant business, and we always stay in the restaurant business. It wasn't because it was a business, it was because it was a lifestyle, and it was, our ability to see people and work in the community and do things within the community that made it great for us. And so to be able to get back to that again and to be with people again would be like the number one wish, right? If for 2021. And again, to end on a positive note, and I'll end the same way I started 2 weeks ago. If you didn't know that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, we know there is one now. It's coming. We're all going to be stronger for it, having gone through this last process. I know I've seen at least 7 different crises in my time doing business. And of course, this one has been the most impactful. But, you know, we've made it through. There's some positive stuff. We're all together. You know, and let's just get through to the other side of this. So another year or so. Yeah, scarred, bullied, beaten, bloodied, but we'll make it on the other side for sure.
Yes, yes, we will. Oh, I'm gonna go to Odette and Francine. Your biggest wishes for 2021.
My biggest wish for me is to make sure it's for people to make it as a personal responsibility to support local business. I don't want it to be a trend. I hope people will put it in their mindset that it's not just a COVID-19 trend, and that businesses like us will continue to support each other. Mostly, I would like to argue all the business owners. If you have somebody on social media that keeps posting something, it doesn't take much of your time to share what they are sharing, or their promotion, or their sale, whatever it's happening. We have to continue supporting each other, and we don't want this to look back and then 1 year later in 2020 in the middle we are going back to shopping at Amazon. We want this to be a conscious thing that's going to continue on becoming a lifestyle to support local businesses, because that's how we help our economy as well. And I hope that we'll continue speaking up. Rafa, I really love what you're doing as well. I don't know if there's anything I can do, but I'm all in if you ever need any help as well. I would love to help with anything, and any other businesses. If you need anything and you feel like we here in this group are able to help, we'll be happy to help as well. And yeah, I just want people to make it a conscious decision and to just be hopeful, keep a positive outlook, because you can complain all you want, but we can't change things, but we just have to adjust and go with what's happening, and just be mindful and checking on each other as well, businesses and people around us, and just share the love and yeah.
Well, I'll get your advice on some set design here on my little home studio set here. Well, might as well ask anyways.
Yes, Francine, of course, I'd love to.
Francine?
Like Odette was saying, thank you so much, Susie, actually, for having us. Like Odette was saying, I think definitely just we need to have a different outlook. And I think my wish for 2021 is, of course, I know things will never go back the same way before COVID. And I think we just have to learn how to thrive in this moment, and just to keep thinking outside the box, just like everybody has been saying. And as well, definitely kind of supporting our local community and local businesses, and see what can we do, share, comment, support basically their ventures. And as well, I think is just being at peace, because I think when we stress, there are things we cannot control that are beyond our reach. And I think things that you can control, it's just learning to be at peace with it, but at the same time, just thriving. I believe it's just rising above everything that is going on, and keep knowing that you need to be in this right mindset to even push your business and to even think outside the box. So one thing I would say, just being positive, supporting one another, and check up on each other, definitely, like Odette was saying. So
thank you so much to both of you. I'm gonna go to Sue. Sue, you've been so quiet, but I mean, Sue, I know you've been listening. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same as everybody else, just continuing to support those local businesses. I hope it doesn't go away. I've seen so much support for everybody online, and just like in the community itself. So that's such a special thing. And I think that is very much Winnipeg. And I hope that that will continue on for entrepreneurs. I know we're kind of built for this in terms of endurance, and we're risk takers. We're kind of for the ups and the downs, and I know everybody's going to make it through. We're just going to have to tough it out. So I hope that 2021 is a better year for everyone.
Oh, and just to add though, Sue, you are a real trooper. I've known Sue for quite a number of years, and she has reinvented herself and made such a great success in so many ways. You are a true heart of an entrepreneur, Sue. So Milk Smith, better year in 2021. Continue on the great work. I'm gonna go to Ogo.
Hey,
Yay.
uh,
2021. You can still
2021,
drink.
you
You can
know,
still drink. You know, we'll still have alcohol. That's one thing. You know what? They're not taking
not
away
going
from
away.
us.
Some of us might need to reduce our intake by with all this.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, just a couple of comments that were kind of said. I think even just starting now, I think as a business owner, I think we've noticed relationships, or me even being more aware of other small businesses. As much as I'm an entrepreneur, I will tell you that I don't know of, as just recently over the last 4 or 5 months, I've never been so connected to small business or more aware of small business than now. Restaurants, we do a local lunch now with Carter Chen because, you know, we love eating out, but you know, we're always so hard working at our own businesses. And I think it's great to know that there's other businesses. And I think even as Susie mentioned earlier about two of you guys combining your efforts, I think there's so much strength in that. And I think that's what an actual economy requires. Because really, at the end of this, we know that usually it becomes the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. But if we don't, you know, take a lot of that middle class and continue to work together and figure out ways that we can be creative in terms of, you know, if we do a pop-up, me and Regan hit up everywhere all the way through here to Ontario together, or whatever we need to do to get ourselves to stay alive. If we need to promote ourselves with Four Crown or any restaurant or whatever it is, being really creative. I don't think that requires the new year and hope for the new year in order for us to keep that momentum going. As entrepreneurs, that kind of comes to us. I mean, that's what we are. We're the ones that kind of are the trendsetters. We're the ones that are thinking of the new ideas that some people don't think of. And sometimes that new idea is not just being, you know, so self-centered on your own business, but putting that arm out and touching the other business. And you start to realize that the two of you can start to grow together, and then that other person touches. It's like network marketing, but in terms of business. And just like Instagram, if you promote somebody else, they promote you, and you grow. And I think that's something that, whether it's 2020 or 2021, in order for this movement to continue on, I think it's been enlightening for me as a small business owner to find so many unique and new businesses and restaurants and small businesses and platforms that I never would have been aware of, to be honest, if we weren't going through this. So just like the Peaser was saying earlier, I mean, there's so many great things that have been shone on this, and for the strong ones, they'll kind of survive. And if you need someone, check in on your friends, check on a fellow business member, and uplift them. Sometimes just talk about the things that suck and talk about the things that are good. And just like today, we start to find out, oh, you know, oh snap, I could be doing this, or oh snap, I could be doing that. And we're all kind of just looking for someone to lean on and get ourselves through this. And then hopefully when we're all through this, we continue to do the same thing and don't kind of fall back into the same old habits. But I've been really thankful for being on this conversation and meeting all of you guys, and some of you I've known before. The Peaser used to sell do-rags. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how
man.
way back in the day, we're talking about a man that's reinvented himself a trillion times. I've known him for a long time, and he has an incredible hustle. So, but his spirit is the same thing I think many entrepreneurs need to have, and just be able to pivot and exactly what Linda said, accept the faults, but forget about them and then move forward and keep pushing. So that's what I'd like to say.
And can I add a quick piece here? Is that one of your shirts, Ogo, that you create?
Oh yeah, that's my the Return of Black Wall Street.
Well,
yeah.
that's my first support. I'm gonna get one of those, man. I'm gonna get one of those, man.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
man.
oh my gosh. All right, and Regan, how about you?
You know, I probably a lot of what everyone else said, and I think I want to see this support local, save Manitoba movement continue on into the new year. You know, like my husband and I pick 1 or 2 restaurants a week, different restaurants, support them. I try to even do my grocery shopping at local places. It's really made me open my eyes a little bit to some of the restaurants and stores that are out there, and the kind of things that I can get there versus getting at an Amazon, a Staples, and things like that. You know, the one thing that this has kind of made me thankful for, and like that's a bad thing to say, but it's made me almost reinvent and think about how I can move forward through this. You know, I think when you're, you know, it's only been 7 years that I've been open, but I feel like you kind of get into that coasting of this is what you do every day. So it's kind of made me try and reinvent a little bit. And I kind of just want to deal with my customers in person again. You know, like I want that sense of community still. And it's so hard when it's all over DM and Instagram and all over the computer. Whereas I opened my business because I like to see people and I like to communicate and you know, get to know everyone. And I think that's what I'm missing the most, besides the fact that I talk to a 4-month-old all day right now and no adults. I feel like I miss that socialization and the community that, you know, having these restaurants and stores open really creates, you know, like being in Osborne and seeing 2 people walk by all day makes you feel like you're in like a desert town and you feel isolated, which you are isolated at home right now. But, you know, I think that's my hope for 2021. Too.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And next time we want to see the baby, I'm sure.
Yeah. I put her to bed before so you wouldn't hear her crying.
Oh, oh no. Oh, and last but definitely not least, Robbie, you get to end this show.
Oh, great. Thanks for that.
The
Yeah,
mayor-
like the Peaser said, so yeah, I've known Mike a long time, and every time this guy drives by me on the street, he brightens up my day, and I don't even think he realizes that he blesses me with that, because he's got the reggae pounding, and he rolls down the window. What's up, Ravi? How you doing? He's got that crazy Jamaican accent. He's lived here for like 30 years. I love this guy. Like he really brings that energy to the table, right? And I think that we all do that in our jobs in a certain way, right? And people look up to us to do that. And so many times I'm walking around my own restaurant like this, my head in my phone. I'm so busy, it's ringing. I've got 3 conversations going, and I'm not able to focus on the moment. And I think the one thing that I really learned from this pandemic is to focus on the moment and take a step back. You know, I'm trying to be creative all day and have new ideas and build and expand and grow, and a halt has really been put in that, even though, you know, we're still trying to move and maneuver, but now I'm really able to breathe right now. And I think without this pandemic, I would not have done this for a really long time. You know, even if I go on the 1 or 2 week vacation with the family, it's focused on the family. It's not focused on life in general, right? So this pandemic has really allowed me personally to breathe and just step to the outside, realize my parents are getting older. It's helped me to connect with my brothers on a very different, kind of bring back that level than when we were kids, you know, joke around, have that funny conversation on the phone. Whereas, you know, 6 months ago, it was like, yeah, what do you want? Okay, yeah, talk to you later, bye. You know, and that was it. It allowed me to stop taking, you know, family for granted, and now I'm at home with my kids every night, and it's fantastic. And it really allowed me to reset my values. And because anyone that knows me, they know I work all the time. I work day, night. The phone's off the hook. Even when I'm at home with the family, the phone's going. So it's this has been a nice pause. Sure, it's costing a lot of money for this pause, but it's been a nice pause, right? So I think the other thing too is it's really allowed me to focus on, like Ogo says, allowed me to focus on so many new businesses that I just never would have put that time investment into, you know, and you know, meet all you wonderful people, and without this pandemic, this wouldn't have happened. I'd go to networking events, but I couldn't wait to get out of there because there was work to do. I had to do work, you know, and this is just, the community get together has been amazing. Like the Winnipeg community doesn't view each other as competition, which I love. I love that about our city, you know. So many of us restaurateurs are good friends. I have a little burger shop called St. James Burger, and right down the street there's the world famous burger place, and me and Andy, we're great friends, you know. When I popped up there, he's like, Rav, welcome to the neighborhood, man. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this. Let's make this the burger district of the city, you know. instead of saying, hey, shoot, why are you trying to compete with me? And our sales have both been fantastic because we have these little online rivalries and we have fun with it. And that's what Winnipeg's all about, right? We're not competitors. We're not looked down on one another. We answer the phone for each other, and we're very genuine. Like the line "friendly Manitoba" is 100% true, 100% true, and I'm so proud of that, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. So all I want for 2021 is to turn back on safely, for COVID not to kill as much as it needs to, and I want to hit a dance floor with Mike DePeaser at some point.
Yeah, man. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. We can arrange that. Yeah. COVID or not. I need to see that. I need to see a dance off between you two. Oh my goodness.
It's on.
Oh, you know what? I just want to thank all of you. This has been such a great conversation. And can I say, like, why hasn't the premier done this and actually like talk to business owners face to face and hear them, and have like life coaches and have, active. Susie, can I call you an activist? But you're a friendly activist. No, but people like that can really start a movement.
I'm trying to do stuff.
I know, but you do it so well. I just would love to continue this conversation. So hopefully in a month, we can all have this together. Oops, and I'm losing my voice. This is water. So with that, my voice is gone. Thank you so much, all of you. So finally, stay safe and stay healthy. Okay.
Thanks
And
very
all
much,
the best.
everyone. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, gang.
All the best for 2021.
Everybody.
Stay safe.
Thank you. Stay
Thank you
safe.
for one of those shirts
Bye-bye.
there, Hugo. I messaged you
God
already.
bless.
Oh, you already hit me up? Okay, bet.
On top of it, man. Thank you,
All
boss.
right, my man.
Hey, everybody.
Easy.
I love it.